Now I come to plan number 2, an extension of the port of Rotterdam. You can see it here. It's completely surrounded by dunes and beaches linked to Maas Plain number 1, which can be created in 2 phases, as you can see. We have introduced the demarcation line as intermunicipal boundary between the municipality of West-Voorne and Rotterdam. On the southern side we have a new terrestrial nature reserve area, creating a triplet of nature reserve areas, the original dune area of West-Voorne with over 700 species of higher types of flora, with the pioneer vegetation near the shore and the climax vegetation on the inner side. The seascape in between as a mating and breeding ground for marine organisms and the birds that live on them, and the new terrestrial nature reserve area below this intermunicipal boundary. And north of it, port and port-related activities for the port of Rotterdam. Now, why this scheme? The municipality of West-Voorne was heavily against the extension of the port of Rotterdam. Therefore, I decided to create this triplet of nature reserve areas. However, Rotterdam, of which I'm an advisor, said to me, Waterman, we are not going to put any money in it because this nature reserve area has no economical benefit. And I said, you have to pay for it. And then they said, why? Explain that. I said, because it's not only a nature reserve area, but at the same time is the protection on the southern side from the sea for all your port and port-related activities north of it. And then they agreed to pay for it. And now everyone was happy, both the port of Rotterdam as well as the municipality of West-Voorne, because West-Voorne achieved a triplet of nature reserve area, thereby also extending their municipal boundaries, and Rotterdam achieved port and port-related activities within this so-called Sluchterdam plan. This was followed by Maas Plain number 2, and you see on the western side again seaward protection with dunes and beaches. The only exception is a solid sea boundary on the northern side of it, near the entrance, the double entrance of the port of Rotterdam, for protection. But most of it was again building with nature, with dunes and beaches. And then there's the possibility to create a third Maas Plain. The solid seawall element has a cross section which you can see over here, and it's fully explained in the text. And here you see how it started, section 1 followed by section 2, and you see how nature takes part of it, and here's the completion of both Sluchterdam as well as Maas Plain number 2. We also try to combine an environmental policy, a raw materials policy, and economic policy. We can turn contaminated harbor sludge into bricks at a high firing temperature. The heavy metals are bound to the fired clay particles, and the pesticides are burned off, and we can use fly ash from municipal incinerators, for instance, to make artificial gravel, which we can include in concrete elements. And here you see the result of the terrestrial nature reserve area as well of the seascape as mating and breeding ground for marine organisms. It is so successful, and that is the great challenge of the 21st century, to develop methods that at the same time strengthen the economy and improve the environment. And you see a whole series of various types of birds, and even the fishing eagle and the spoonbill bird arrived. We see Parnassia, the sea thistle, various of insects, including butterflies, the sand lizard, and for the first time in 20 years a colony of 12 seals arrived. Here we see the Parnassia, Forbia maritima, the Cacile maritima, the sand lizard, and the seal. So all in all, it was very successful, and it has been proven that by introducing building with nature, we can at the same time improve the environment, nature and landscape, as well as providing for economic activities in harmony with each other. And that concludes plan number 2. Now we come to plan number 3. It was interesting to note that we have a transport of sand in northern direction along the coast between Hoek of Holland and Den Helder. And I observed that the sand transport was blocked by the extended southern harbor mole of IJmuiden, and that a beach came into being, which became wider and wider. And then I went to the municipality of Velzen, to which IJmuiden belongs, and I said, you can quicken this process by creating a marina with a double boulevard and an entrance, by making an opening in the old southern harbor mall, with a nautical center, apartments, Admiralty Club, restaurants, hotel, shops, then an artificial lake which starts as a saltwater lake, but under influence of the rain it becomes a freshwater lake, and again also in this case a new nature reserve area linked to an existing nature reserve area of South Kennemer Land. And on the inner side you can create a new harbor, a new third harbor for IJmuiden outside of the sluices, with a new beach in front, with in the summer rows of beach dwellings. And here you see already the result. You see the old coastline, the new coastline, you see the marina, and you see the nautical center, the apartments, the Admiralty Club, the restaurants. You see a spot for the hotel, and position for the harbor master, trailer slope, and a ship lift elevator, all in all. Later on, the hotel came into being, and here you see the overview of the whole area. And here once again the result of a Google display. And now I'm coming to plan number 6. It includes a dike and garage under dune, construction for the city of Katwijk, which will be followed with the marina and offshore activities and widening of the dunes on both sides of the harbor moat and the extension of the old Rhine River into the sea, and can be created step by step. Here you see the old situation in which the city of Katwijk was very vulnerable, protected only by a beach, very vulnerable, and now we have, with 200 meters of dune widening with the garage underneath, with a new beach. Everyone is happy for tourism, recreation and nature development underneath an underground parking. And now I'm coming to plan number 4. The coast is only protected by stone sea dike, and we had to choose either widening and heightening the dike or applying building with nature with over a length of 7 kilometers with a tapering off on 2 sides of 2 kilometers each, total length of 11 kilometers with a 200 meter wide dune with a new beach in front, as you can see here, for both nature and recreation, with a walking path, a cycle path, a panorama dune, even a lake. All in all, very successful through building with nature. Here once again. Of course, we have to realize that large-scale land reclamations, apart from building with nature, can also apply other methods, like the polder system, which we applied to the Haarlem Lake, for instance. We pumped dry the original Haarlem Lake of 18,000 hectares, transforming it into farmland with a ring channel around it, with 3 pumping stations, and creating canals and ditches in the new land, and finally creating cities within the areas, agricultural land, as well as our large airport Schiphol. Why the name Schiphol? It used to be a lake, and owing to strong southwestern gales, ships used to founder in the northeastern part. It was a hellhole for ships. This was a ship hell, and therefore Schiphol. It became also a harbor to flee to in times of danger. So the other derivation is Schiphol Harbor, Schiphol. It was created in 1852. It was finalized with a ring-shaped channel around it, the link to the sea, and 3 pumping stations. Here we see the South Sea project, the enclosure dike of 32.5 kilometers and a sequence of 4 polders, being a mere polder of 20,000 hectares, the northeast polder of 48,000 hectares, East Flevoland of 54,000 hectares, and southern Flevoland of 43,000 hectares, altogether 166,000 hectares, being the largest land reclamation project in the world. And the capital city of the province of Flevoland is called after the great originator, engineer, Dr. Cornelis Lely. You see his statue in the wind and his picture, and you see the long enclosure dike, which has ship locks and discharge sluices. By the action of the inflow of the branch river IJssel from the river Rhine, the action of rain, gradually the salt water was pushed out through the discharge sluices and replaced by fresh water, and so the IJssel lake came into being, which is important for drainage, irrigation, fresh water, drinking water supply, etc. Here you see the cross-section of the enclosure dike and the enclosure dike itself. On the left side the sea, on the eastern side the new IJssel lake. And here you see the windmills replaced by diesel and steam engines, and the volume of water which was originally pushed out, and the maintenance pumping. When the polders became dry, planes were used to sow reed and morass endive, sucking the soil dry, put into flames, and then ditches and canal were dug and became a very fertile agricultural land, and later cities and an airport came into being. Here you see the system, the polder system, with a ring-shaped channel, the pumping stations, and you see both the polder system as well as the building with nature system.